Next up on ATVN Sports, find out how former USC football players performed at the NFL Combine. Next up on sports, find out if my co-anchor Will Simons was screaming in excitement, or was he crying a river while his San Francisco 49ers took on the Kansas City Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 58. Now, first of all, Will, let me offer my condolences to both you and that drenched tissue now. I'd like to talk about the man behind the microphone, Kyle Shanahan of the San Francisco 49ers. Between his time as the offensive coordinator in Atlanta, now the head coach in San Francisco, he is 0-3 in Super Bowls and has been outscored 74-29 in the second half and overtime. Is it about time we start questioning, is he really built for this big stage? Now, this wasn't just a big weekend for women's basketball. We've got some news from other teams around the campus to share with you.
I think Patrick Mahomes is the single most valuable player in all of team sports right now. If I am the GM or the owner or the coach of a team in every league there is, and I have one choice for one of my teams to go out and steal any player from any team, I'm going to the NFL, my NFL team, and I'm stealing Patrick Mahomes from the Kansas City Chiefs. There's no one I would rather have than him. The thing with the Chargers that I think is Harbaugh's goal for next season is the Chargers lost 7 games last season by 3 or fewer points. All Harbaugh needs to do is flip most of those games.
You win half those games, you're in the playoffs.
You win half those games, and you're maybe in the playoffs. You're at least going about 500. To me, all Harbaugh needs to do is just make a name for himself in the NFL again. And then the season after that, he's going to start bringing in new stars who want to be with a competent team in Los Angeles. And then that's where the real contending season starts. The reason I'm saying that is because it's like Devin Hester, in theory, is probably better at his position than Antonio Gates was. But it's just Antonio Gates was so much more important. Devin Hester had, I think it was like, okay, he was in there for his like amazing kick return touchdowns and his punt return touchdowns. He didn't do that much as a receiver, right? So he had, I think it's like 14 kick return touchdowns. Antonio Gates had 116 receiving touchdowns. What are you doing? Like, no, as electric as Devin Hester was, Antonio Gates is just so much more important. The reason why I'm not surprised at the loss is you look back at the schedule and you look at the results, and the Trojans were a very streaky team. They started out losing their first 4 of 5. They went on to win the next 9 straight, and just the entire season, it was consecutive wins or consecutive losses, back to back to back to back. And when you look at how the regular season ended for the Trojans, they lost their last 3 in the regular season. And that's why it doesn't surprise me that Crash, like you were saying, playing against a really good team in Pitt. Well, if this is a Trojan team that lost their last 3 straight, how in the world are they supposed to pick it back up and take down Pitt?
Juju Watkins, #1 recruit coming out of high school, but she has still exceeded expectations through the last 3 games, the only 3 games this season, in the major categories of points, rebounds, and assists. In every single game, she has been the leader in 2 of those. Against Ohio State, she was the Trojan leader in points and assists, and in the last 2 games, last week against Florida Gulf Coast and Lemoyne, she was the Trojan leader in points and rebounds. She's just been absolutely amazing, and they're going to need her heading into late December through early February, where, like you said, Terrence, the Pac-12 is amazing at women's hoops. From December 30th to February 2nd, the Trojans play, currently as it stands, number 3 UCLA, then number 3 UCLA again, then number 4 Utah, number 5 Colorado, number 24 Washington State, and number 6 Stanford.